Let's start with a sentence that could change your life. No matter how much money you're earning right now, you can become a millionaire. Sounds crazy, right? But David Bach truly believes it. Today, I'm going to summarize The Automatic Millionaire, a book written by David Bach. According to David, you don't need a massive salary or multiple income streams to become wealthy. In fact, even a small amount, just $5 a day, can be enough. Most people think the secret to wealth is earning more. New business ideas, promotions, raises. But it's not as effective as you might think. Ask someone who got a raise last year. Did their savings increase? Almost always the answer is no. Take a look at your own life. Chances are you're earning more today than you did 10 years ago. But are you richer? Do you have more wealth? Are you saving more? Most likely your answer is no. Why? Because the more we earn, the more we spend. How much you earn has almost no impact on whether you build wealth. To become an automatic millionaire, no matter the size of your paycheck, you probably already earn enough to become rich. Let me say that again. No matter your income, you already earn enough to become wealthy. I can almost hear you saying, "Come on, the money I make barely covers my expenses." Are you seriously telling me I can still become rich with this income? First of all, I'm not the one saying it. David Bach is. And second, yes. No matter how much you're earning right now, you can become wealthy. But you have to believe it, not just with your mind, but with your heart. Because that belief might be the very first step toward transforming your financial life. You're probably thinking right now, okay, this all sounds nice, but what's the secret? Well, here it is, the Latte Factor. When I first heard it, I reacted just like you might. So you're telling me that if I stop spending $5 a day on coffee and invest it instead, I'll become rich? Honestly, as soon as I read that, I thought to myself, there's no way I'm giving up my favorite drink just to save $5. But that's exactly where I was wrong. Because the Latte Factor isn't really about lattes at all. It's about how the idea came to life. David Bach shares a story from one of his seminars. A woman stood up and said his advice wasn't practical. She could barely make it to the end of the month. There was no way she could find an extra $5 to invest. So David offered to go through her daily spending with her. And what they found was eye-opening. Every morning she spent about $5 on coffee and a muffin. Then around 11 a.m., another $5 on snacks. That's $10 spent before lunchtime even arrived. David asked her, "What do you think would happen if you invested just half of that, $5 a day, until retirement?" She guessed maybe $70,000 or $80,000. But when David showed her the actual math, the truth hit hard. With a 10% annual return, investing just $5 a day could grow to $1.2 million by the time she retired. She was stunned. Her daily coffee and muffin were costing her over $1 million. That moment changed everything for her. And that's how the Latte Factor was born. Now, some of you might be thinking, this doesn't apply to me. I don't drink coffee. And even if I did, I'd never spend that much on it. If that's how you feel, then, just like I did at first, you're missing the point. Because what David's talking about isn't just lattes. It's about the small, unnoticed expenses we all have, and how, with just a few small changes in our habits, we can completely transform our financial future. Chances are your Latte Factor isn't actually lattes. Maybe it's bottled water, maybe it's cigarettes, maybe it's those little snacks you grab at the grocery store without thinking. Maybe it's eating out every day. Or maybe it's those digital subscriptions you never use. Whatever it is, we all have a Latte Factor. We all spend a surprising portion of our hard-earned money on small, unnoticed purchases. And we rarely realize how much those tiny expenses add up over time. The Latte Factor is personal. For you, it might be daily lunches or smoking. For someone else, it could be a second home, an unused car, or clothes hanging in the closet with the tags still on. What matters is recognizing these little escape points. Because that's exactly where financial transformation begins. In just a few minutes, I'll show you how to identify your own Latte Factor. But first, Let's take a look at what investing just $5 a day with a 10% annual return could look like over 40 years. After 1 year, around $2,000. After 2 years, $4,000. After 5 years, $12,000. After 10 years, $30,000. After 15 years, $62,000. After 30 years, $340,000. And finally, after 40 years, nearly $1 million. That's how much money you could be missing out on if you don't identify and change your latte factor. So how do you find yours? Start by tracking your spending for just 1 week. If that feels too long, then do it for just 2 days. But during those 2 days, don't change your behavior. Write everything down. And when I say everything, I mean everything, even if it costs just a few cents. No matter how you paid, cash or card, write it down. David Bach strongly recommends writing it down instead of just thinking about it, because numbers have power. This exercise will help you clearly see where your money is going. Now this is where the yes but excuses start to show up. What is a yes but? It's what people say to justify their current situation and avoid taking new action. How do you know if you're a yes but person? If you're saying things like, yes, but I don't waste money. Yes, but with inflation, $1 million won't be worth much in 30 years. Wrong. It'll be worth more than you think. And if you don't start saving now, even a little, what you'll have later will be worth far more than nothing. Yes, but I'll never get a 10% return on my money. Even 5% would still be pretty good. Yes, but there's no way to invest small amounts of money. Wrong again. These days you can start automatic investment plans with as little as $1 a day. Yes, but even if I managed to save an extra $5 a day, I wouldn't know where to invest it. Even if you don't know where to invest, you could use that money to pay off debt or your mortgage faster. If you're paying 7% interest on a loan, paying it off is like earning a 7% return. Or you could use that money to start a side hustle. Personally, I think that's one of the best ways to invest, because the return can be huge. David's recommendation is to put that money into a retirement plan. The book offers plenty of advice on how to do that, especially for US readers, but I won't go into those details here. Before we move on to the next part of the video, I want to walk you through one more experiment. The kind I always say, I wish someone had told me this when I was 15. If you're young, this could change your life. Imagine 3 people, James, Olivia, and William. Each of them invests $3,000 per year and earns a 10% annual return. James starts investing at age 15 and continues until age 19, just 5 years. After that, he stops contributing and simply lets his money grow. Olivia begins at age 19 and invests until age 26, a total of 8 years. William starts at age 27 and keeps investing until age 65. He contributes the same $3,000 annually, but does so for 39 years. Now here's the big question. Who ends up with the most money at age 65? If you think it's William, because he invested the longest and contributed the most, you'd be wrong. In fact, he ends up with the least. Here are the final numbers at age 65. William has around $1.3 million. He invested a total of $117,000 over 39 years. Olivia has $1.5 million. She invested $24,000 over 8 years. James has $1.6 million. He invested just $15,000 over 5 years. As you can see, James invested the least amount of money and time, yet he ended up with the most. Why? Because he started earlier. That's the power of time in investing. To recap what we've covered so far, in the first part, we talked about identifying your latte factor. And as I mentioned earlier, the purpose of the latte factor exercise is to help you realize that you're already earning enough to start investing and building wealth. Once you've done that exercise, if you're ready to take things more seriously and level up your money game, there's one more step you need to take. You have to start paying yourself first. Let me explain why paying yourself first is so important. We humans are terrible at a lot of things, and one of them is budgeting. Budgeting is like counting calories while dieting. You might do it for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, but eventually, you stop. So if you rely on budgeting to pay yourself, chances are you'll end up paying everyone else first, and not yourself. That's why, just like governments do, you need to prioritize yourself and take your cut first. Governments always take a portion of your paycheck before you even see it. For example, before 1943 in the United States, people received their full income and were expected to pay income taxes the following spring. But from the government's perspective, there was a problem. They couldn't trust that people would budget well enough to have the money set aside when tax season came around. Think about that for a second. Governments are smart. They realized long ago that people aren't great at budgeting, so they created a system to make sure they got paid first. Not only did they take the first cut, but they also automated the process to avoid any issues. They found an almost foolproof way to ensure they always got their money. No ifs or buts. Now it's your turn to do the same. You need to build a system that guarantees you get paid first. A system where you pay yourself before anyone else. And now we've reached the most important part, something the author emphasizes as well, and that is automation. It doesn't matter how much you pay yourself or where you invest that money. What matters is that you make it automatic. I can't stress enough how powerful automation is. If you take only 2 things away from this video, let them be these. First, pay yourself first. Second, make it automatic. If you're not disciplined enough to do this manually every month, accept that as a fact. The author says that over 9 years, he's seen many people try to rely on discipline alone, and all but one of them failed. To sum it up, remember this. Financial freedom doesn't come from big leaps. It comes from small, consistent habits. Simple ideas like the Latte Factor, paying yourself first, and automation can completely change the course of your life. It's not about how much you earn. It's about how wisely you manage what you earn. So take a small step today, because your future self will be shaped by the decisions you make right now. If this video inspired you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. See you in the next video.